The smell of smoke hangs low in the air, sharp and metallic, clinging to the back of the throat. Boots crunch over gravel. Somewhere, a generator rattles like distant thunder. The sky is the color of dirty steel. She takes one step, then another, and suddenly stops. A dark stain spreads across the front of her dress. This should not be happening. Not here, not now. American medics turn just in time to see the German woman sway, her knees buckling, as if the ground itself has shifted beneath her. She collapses. For a fraction of a second, the entire camp freezes. The place is a temporary prisoner of war processing camp in southern Germany. Spring of 1945. The war in Europe is collapsing inward on itself. The Third Reich is fracturing. Cities are burning. Rail lines are severed. Hospitals are rubble. This camp, little more than barbed wire, tents, and commandeered farm buildings, was never meant to hold women. But war ignores plans. She is listed as a civilian auxiliary, late 20s, no visible wounds, captured during the chaotic retreat of German forces. No medical red flags, no complaints, at least none that were recorded. Around her, the camp hums with controlled tension. American medics work non-stop treating malnutrition, trench foot, infection. Their instruments are basic stethoscopes, pressure cuffs, morphine syrettes. No x-rays, no blood banks, no surgical theaters. From a distance, she looked stable, walking upright. But the human body, like the earth, itself can hide pressure building far below the surface. Doctors later compared it to a fault line under stress, silent, invisible, and storing energy. Early warning signs were there. She had been pale, her pulse slightly fast, her answers delayed, as if she were listening to something far away. One medic would later say, "It felt like watching a calm mountain, knowing something underneath was moving." What came next shocked everyone. It begins with a sudden change, small but measurable. Her heart rate spikes, blood pressure drops, skin temperature falls. To the medics, it's the equivalent of a seismic tremor. They notice the blood first, dark, too much, soaking through thin fabric and dripping onto the dirt. This is not surface bleeding. This is internal. In medical terms, it's a hemorrhagic collapse, the circulatory system failing, under catastrophic blood loss. The cause is unclear. Ruptured organ, postpartum complication, infection, trauma days old finally giving way. Like magma forcing its way upward, pressure finds the weakest point. She gasps. Her eyes lose focus. The ground does not shake, but everything else does. A medic drops to his knees beside her, fingers searching for a pulse that is already fading. Every second now matters. Orders are shouted. A stretcher appears. Someone calls for plasma, but there is none. Someone else reaches for morphine, then hesitates. Then the alarms go silent, because there are no alarms, no monitors, no IV pumps, no sirens. Just human hands and guesswork. Rescue teams freeze not from fear, but from calculation. Who gets resources? Who can be saved? The camp commander radios for evacuation clearance. The nearest field hospital is miles away, over bombed roads. Residents, other prisoners, are forced back, told to turn away. They have only minutes to react. Her breathing becomes shallow. Cyanosis creeps into her lips. The body is shutting down, system by system, like sensors failing during an unexpected eruption. Even today, doctors debate what happened in those minutes. Some believe it was a ruptured ectopic pregnancy, undiagnosed and untreated in a collapsing healthcare system. Others argue for septic shock, infection spreading silently until blood vessels failed. A third theory points to delayed traumatic injury, internal damage sustained days earlier, masked by adrenaline and movement. This changed everything, one military physician wrote later. No model had predicted this scenario in a walking patient. Without imaging, without labs, the medics were blind. They could only respond to what they saw. And what they saw was catastrophic. As they lift her onto the stretcher, something unexpected happens. The bleeding accelerates, a second collapse more severe than the first. Her abdomen distends. Her pulse disappears entirely. This is the rupture point, the moment pressure is fully released. In geological terms, it would be called a system failure cascade. In human terms, it's cardiac arrest. Chest compressions begin. Someone counts. Someone else whispers numbers like a prayer. But the science is unforgiving. Without blood, the heart cannot restart. Without surgery, the source cannot be sealed. The shockwave has already passed through every system. She is pronounced dead minutes later. No explosion, no fireball, just silence. The ground is stained dark where she fell. Around the camp, life continues. Trucks move. Orders are given. The war pushes forward. But something lingers. The medics clean their hands and write a report that ends with uncertainty. Cause of death, undetermined internal hemorrhage. Hundreds of thousands would die in the final months of the war. But this death stayed with them because it was sudden, intimate, and unseen until it was too late. Airfields would close that week. Villages would be evacuated. Borders would shift. But none of that mattered in that moment. Only the body, and the blood the earth absorbed without comment. History remembers wars in numbers, casualties, dates, victories. But sometimes the most chilling disasters are the quiet ones. A body standing 1 second, and gone the next. The science of trauma has advanced. Models are better. Warnings are clearer. And yet, even now, doctors know the truth. Some collapses give no warning. Some pressures remain hidden. And some disasters are already unfolding before anyone knows to look. Because this was not the end. It was a reminder.